Alofa, and welcome again to another episode of Behind the Lava Lava. I will be your host this evening. My name is Johnny. I'm joined by Michael Tan, Spencer, and Milford Tiafala. Today we got an actual really special guest for you. He's a family member of mine, and I grew up with this kid. I get to say kid because I'm like a year and a half older than him, but we're basically the same age now that we're all in our 30s and grown. But today we got Kurt Taufaasau. He's the head coach at New Mexico Military. We're going to be picking his brain, trying to figure out, how he got on his current path, what he's doing to get there, and then how he's impacted the lives. Because I know he's helped out a lot of people during his career and even before then, a lot of people from the community. And, us from Behind the Lava Lava, we're very proud of our Pacific Islander roots, and we like to showcase all those who continue to put in work for the community. So without further ado, Kurt, tell us about yourself, how you got started, not just as the head coach, but your origins, your upbringing up into where you are now.
Sure. First off, man, thank you for inviting me on the Behind the Lava Lava podcast. It's an honor to, share the stage with you guys. Again, it's just good to see family faces, classmate Michael Tan. But no, I've been watching a lot of you guys' videos on Facebook, and again, I give you guys props, man. You guys do a good job of trying to get more exposure for, a lot of our Polynesian, businesses out there, and as far as communities too as well. But just a little bit about myself. Born and raised in American Samoa. I'm the oldest son of Tuilua'i, Taufaasau, and Vincent Taufaasau. Me and Johnny are related, because of Johnny's my uncle, the late Taulanga, Suolawai, is my mom's older brother. And like you mentioned earlier, we grew up on the island together, did a lot of sleepovers, with him and his brothers. Pretty much called him my brother growing up, and until they moved to Utah in 2000, I believe. But just a little bit about myself. I'm from the village of Pango Pango. Graduated from the high school, Samoana High School in 2008. And then after that, man, I was fortunate enough to get the opportunity to, continue my education, off island at this place where I'm at, coming out of high school here at New Mexico Military Institute Junior College. Did 2 years here. And then, again, was fortunate enough to receive a scholarship opportunity to play at the University of Wyoming for 3 years. Graduated from the University of Wyoming 2012. And then, had the opportunity to sign as an undrafted free agent to, the Oakland Raiders then. I was with them 2013 up until second week of season, got cut. And then got picked up again by a couple other teams for practice squads, the Tennessee Titans and the Indianapolis Colts. This was going on in 2014, and then got cut again, last by the Colts, and then decided that I wanted to stay around the game of football, because it's something I love doing. So instead of, putting the helmet on, putting the cleats on, the shoulder pads on, I hung him up, turned them in, and, carried the whistle. In 2015, started my coaching career at Westlake High School in Saratoga Springs. Coached there for 1 season. And then at the time, I had a couple cousins, Johnny's little brother, Manu Suolawai, he was at NMMI at that time, 2015, along with my other cousin, Edward Taufaasau. They came up to play Snow College. Went out to Ephraim to watch a couple of their games that season, and then met up with an old coach of mine, was the head coach at the time, Joe Fortuner, and kind of rekindled that that lost connection we had after my time here at NMMI. And then he asked me if I wanted to come coach. I told him, yeah. And the following spring of 2016, me and my wife and my son at the time, King, he was 6 months old, made the hardest decision to leave Utah and then, made the 12-hour trek down to Roswell, New Mexico. And ever since then, I'm here. I'm going on my 8th year overall here at New Mexico Military. But 3rd year as a head coach. Got promoted to a head coach in 2021 when our old head coach Joe Fortuner stepped down. It was probably one of my proudest moments in 2021 because you don't hear much of any Polynesian people with backgrounds become a head coach at a football team, especially college level. And man, I was so blessed that year that we won it all, won the national championship here at the junior college level. And yeah, ever since then, going on my 3rd year, finished my 2nd year last year here as a head coach, and we're back for more. Back to the grind. Started 2 days ago, and still same, just like day one. Just blessed and grateful for the opportunity to make an impact on a lot of kids' lives and also families, people I meet through the coaching profession. So yeah, that's just a little brief background about myself and how I got to this point.
So, Kurt, let's take it back a little. Let's talk about the origins of where you started football. Samoa High School. Oh, what an amazing high school! Can you talk more about when, at a point in high school, you decided, oh, football, this is going to be my passion? Was it like a play or a moment in high school that you came across that you made you it defined that football was a career for you?
To be honest, I mean, man, I wasn't even thinking about football beyond high school. I was just like every other, high school kid, freshman. All my friends, oh, we're going to try out for the football team. I was just following the crowd. But I want to say it's when I became a junior. That's when I was like, oh, I got 2 more years at this level. What am I going to do after high school? Back home, it was either join the military, go to school at ACC, or go to the University of Hawaii, or stay home and work and start life. Um, I just want to say it was probably my junior year. I don't really have a certain play that kind of defined a moment for me. That it made me realize that this was a path that I wanted to take. I was just going with the flow, I guess. Just because my friends were going to try out, I wanted to try out too, and then I was getting encouraged by my parents to you know because my first love was baseball. I played baseball. Coming and growing up, I was playing for the. I don't know if you guys remember, the Napa team back home when you were little. That was, I was on that little league team. There was always, the bench Solaita field over there. I was baseball all through and through up until in elementary, Matafala Elementary. I was playing flag football, and then I was like, oh, it's whatever. I'll just give it a try. But really, I want to say junior year is when it kind of made me realize I got to figure something out because I'm going to graduate from high school in 2 years.
So you said that you gravitated toward football, and you love baseball. At what point did you think like you want to go with one over the other? Was it because football you thought you had more opportunity to pursue that professionally, or was there something about that specifically, or did you just find that you had a more natural talent for that sport?
I just think it's because I got big. I've gained a lot of weight, and I was like, I don't think there's any 280-pound baseball player out there, And I wasn't the fastest, to steal base and go around. I just think it was when junior. That's when my junior year I got big. And, I kind of got into that because I was playing offensive line in high school. And growing up, playing baseball, I was a pitcher. You don't see a 280-pound pitcher on the mound. So I was, slowly transitioning to be like, okay, I got to accept the fact that, I'm growing and also getting big. So kind of lean towards more football. Because I did play my senior year baseball in high school. We lost in the championship game to Tafuna High School. But, yeah, I just think I got big and then it just it made me realize, hey, football is where to go now. I don't think I can hang with the quicker guys, the undersized guys that are more fit to play baseball back then.
And were you an offensive lineman up until your career in the NFL?
So no, I was fresh JV. I was D line since we needed help on the offensive line. They moved me and Sean Langi. We were both playing D line, and they moved us over to the offensive line. They put me at offensive tackle and Sean Langi at left guard. And I played O line my senior year, and then got recruited as an O line to come to New Mexico military. After first day of practice, our head coach back then was Jeff Flynn here at NMMI. After our first day of practice, he told me I need to go get a switch, my white jersey in for a red jersey because red was defense. And I played D line ever since then up until the NFL.
Well, I know it's kind of considered nepotism because there's a close relation between us. But I know I followed your career for majority of it up when I started when you left Samoa, and it was interesting to see how you went about, how you started. And this kid that I knew, Kurt used to come spend summers with us up here in Utah all the time. And it was like we spend the whole time hanging out playing video games, or we'd go out every now and then, ride bikes, go to the park. But it was like this gamer kid turned into, because Kurt used to beat us all. I remember it was the N64, some jet ski game. Kurt we went to his house to try it, and he was whooping us all up and down that thing. And it was like he was really good at video games. And then I see Kurt again, and he's almost as tall as me, and I'm 6'5". But then he's got like 150 pounds on me, and he was stacked. And then he was playing football. And then next thing you know, he's at NMMI. And next thing you know, he's killing it in Wyoming. And then he's taking his shot at the NFL. And I saw him on TV, and I was just like, this was a huge transition. And then all of a sudden it stopped, and then he's coaching. And I'm like, what the heck? But then he was excelling at it so much that I figured eventually, it was a calling. It was a calling because his passion for football at the time when you were at Wyoming was deep. It was like all you want to do was football, eat, sleep, and breathe football. And then when you get to coaching, you are now in the opportunity to instill that passion into other kids, And so, my question to you is, when did it go from the passion of the game to instilling it into the next generation of Pacific? And I like to be biased with Pacific Islanders. I know that you out there as a head coach, and even before you became head coach, you were helping out everybody you could, trying to get everybody to come to NMMI. And it turns out now that it's all outreach. So when did it go from passion of instilling the game, of teaching the game of football, to helping out everyone that you meet, whether they be Tongan, Samoan, or anything like that? Because I know I've seen you do that before, calling up kids, hey, prospects here and there.
I want to say when I got cut, by the Indianapolis Colts in 2014, I was trying to find my purpose in life. It was that little window from 2014 to the summer of 2015. before I got into coaching at Westlake High School. I was just really trying to sit down and gather my thoughts and really try to figure out, oh, what do I want to do next in life? Do I just want to go work a 9 to 5 and just pay bills and have a family, or do I want to impact and make a change in someone's life? Because I felt like that's what the game of football did to me. Because it took me to places that I never thought I would be. It took me to Seattle, took me to New Orleans, it took me to Foxborough, like places that the kid from American Samoa, don't never had dreamt of growing up. So that little window I had in 2014 and 2015 where just trying to gather my thoughts and really try to figure out, because the next move that I make is probably the most important, because I just can't spend this much time on something and then 5 years later and you scratch it and then start another thing, and when I did that, I'm so grateful that I met my wife, in Shanice Moy, uh, in Orem, Utah. She really was, my backbone through it all. Because I couldn't have done it without her. I couldn't have done it with the people that I've met along the way, and especially my parents. And also, I couldn't have done it with, again, my uncle, Johnny's dad, you know, Taulanga, the late Taulanga Sulivai, because, he was like my dad. And believe it or not, coming out of high school, he really helped made the process of transitioning from high school to college really easy. Because we flew, like Johnny said, I used to come up to Utah in the summers, spend time with summers just is because of him. He would call my mom up, be like, "Hey, what is Kurt doing? You gonna come go to all poly camp?" I didn't even know what an all poly camp is. And when I came up, he really kind of made it easy for my mom because my dad was deployed then to Iraq. But yeah, I mean, it's just like really had to sit down and make a decision that's going to benefit not only just me but my family and also people that I've met along the way. And I'm glad I chose to stick with coaching because it's just been a blessing. I want to keep doing it. I love it. I just got 2 kids from American Samoa arrived 2 days ago. Adding to the 7 that I already have here, and then really it makes our numbers in Polynesian kids here 30, 30 plus, and seeing their face, seeing them succeed here, and seeing their parents sharing on Facebook how proud they are, like that's something that I want to, because we don't come from much. None of us grew up on the island of millionaires. Yeah, all we need is opportunity, and that's what I got coming out of high school. And I want to give that back to our kids and people that are looking for that opportunity. So,
No, that's pretty awesome, and it's cool to hear how you had to find a way to continue your love of the game while basically taking on a different role. So as you transition from going from being an athlete, being the athlete to being the coach, how would you say that's affected your outlook on the game? Is it just as deep as it was before? Have you come to love it all the more, or less, or how's that? How did that go?
man, it gave me a whole different perspective. Because as a player, if you're just playing the game and you're all just focusing on trying to be the best you can be and make it out of this level. But now as a coach, it's like it ain't just you care about the player, you care about their mental health, you care about their well-being, you care about pretty much everything because they're far from home. When you recruit a kid to come here and also to try to convince them to come play the game of football, it's different. I take everything into consideration. Just because a parent would want to feel comfortable of sending a kid to our place or to any school that is, uh, if you build that relationship not only just with the kid but the parents, and that part right there behind the scenes, everybody sees the touchdowns, the celebrations on the sideline, but the stuff that goes behind the scenes, like the grinding, the fall camp, the workouts in the weight room, the game planning, that's the stuff I love, and it made me have a different perspective on coaching, really. And like I said, I'm glad I chose coaching because I don't know what else would I do if I didn't choose coaching. I'd probably be working, in a 9 to 5 somewhere, sitting behind the desk. But no, to answer your question, Spencer, it's made me love the game of football from a different perspective, and that's like more of like a coaching, and it taught me a lot too. I've learned a lot. So,
That's cool. Thanks for sharing that.
yep.
And that's important too because sometimes I struggle. Everybody has these moments or these crossroads in their life. Because you know they may think I spent so much time pursuing this thing in this one way that I envisioned. And I think about this a lot nowadays. It's called the sunk cost fallacy. It's like, gamblers, they go in and they've been gambling all night, losing all their money. And the idea becomes, well, I've already lost so much time and money. What's one more bet? And so sometimes you second guess yourself. I'm like, is this worth still pursuing? And I'm glad that you were able to find a real avenue where it wasn't just that itch in your mind that was a sunk cost fallacy. It's like you found a legit niche where it's like it sounds like where you were needed and you had a lot to offer and bring not just to the game but to the players that you coach. So that's kudos to you. Congrats on that.
No, I appreciate, just to add on. I mean, sure, I've gotten a lot of opportunities to move on. Me and my wife were talking about this the other night. She asked me, would you be ready if that opportunity comes again? What if you missed it? What if And I told her, it's time to move on. You know, when that time gets here. But right now, I just feel like at the junior college level, at New Mexico Military Institute Junior College, I feel like that's where God wants me to be, just because I make a bigger impact on the kids here than there's a lot of going on in college football right now, and the transfer portal, NIL stuff. That I don't even want to get into that. We don't have that here. Here it's all about the grind, the hard work, the nitty gritty that people don't even see. And again, that's what I like. And like I said, I feel like I can make a bigger impact, help change lives at this level compared to any other level.
To all veterans here in Utah, or you can be out of state and then you visit Utah, on November 10th will be our Pacific Island Veterans Day dinner, hosted by your very own Behind the Lava Lava. We actually are holding it at the Hale Center Theater, and it will be starting at 5 p.m. So if you are a veteran or a Gold Star family, you can register. Just contact us. We will have a link up where you can register for this dinner. It will be semi-formal. We will be having guest speakers, our sponsors, performance, and a dinner. Our dinner will be a buffet style, island style dinner. So we want to thank our current sponsors, and they are American United Federal Credit Union, Mill Creek Advanced Dental, All Pro Concrete Cutters, and Merchant Accounts with Jason Curtis. Currently, we have 4 sponsors, but if you want to sponsor our dinner, you are more than welcome. So please join us for a memorable night to celebrate our veterans.
Welcome back. So, just to recap, we have Coach Kurt Taufaasau from New Mexico military. And quick question I wanted to ask. So, I know we were raised in American Samoa. How often or do you instill some of our regular culture and societal norms into your players as a coach? Do you do it like, do you introduce some of the ways we do things to improve or change the culture of the team? Or I guess what would your core values be? You know?
So when I took over as a head coach in 21, I kind of didn't really change much as far as like the structure with our program, just because the previous head coach did a pretty good job of establishing like the structure and boundaries. But what I really changed or incorporate is the family love aspect of things. Growing up back home, I really wanted to be a family friendly atmosphere, not just within the locker room and the players. When I said it's a family culture based environment, based on love and compassion towards other and what we do, I really meant it. And that's what kind of I truly believe kind of got us over the hump. That year where we won it all, and last year too as well. I'm looking to do the same thing here is just letting the players know that yes, I'm the head coach. Yes, the D line coach. But at the end of the day, man, I'm. You can look at me as an older brother, a father figure, someone that cares so much about you, not just on the football field, but in the overall aspect of things. As far as like again, being a great student athlete overall in the classroom, and here in our school is that'll be in the case is the core side of things, and that's the military side. I always preach to my guys that in order for you to be successful here, you have to put academics first, and then get the military side things in line as far as like squaring your corners, being clean shaven, maintaining the proper haircut, doing all that stuff, waking up early, be on time, being respectful, doing something that yes you don't want to do, but you have to do it. And then also, the third and final part is being the best football player you can be, and that's something that that 2021 year when I took over, I really stressed to my staff and the players that I really truly care about them. When I say the word love, when I mention it, I want them to understand that I meant it because I only say it to my kids, my siblings, and my parents. I don't say it to anybody else. So that's something that as when I took over, I really told the coaches, "Hey, I want to see your kids. Like this is a profession where, yeah, we're consumed with a lot of time here at work, but go home, go see your family. Tell your wives and kids come by the office, come meet the players, come eat lunch in the office. And that's something that again, like when we break down on family, it really means family. I want you to leave a program knowing that that was your family away from home. And another thing too is the tough love. Nowadays you don't have that no more. Growing up back home is that tough love. It always gets you right back on track. So here, yeah, when guys get out of line, hey, I let them know. I'm not going to put my hands on you, but hey, I'm going to be there. Me and you are going to have a grown up conversation, man to man, face to face, and we're going to figure this thing out because, I need you to do right, because if you need me to do right, I will do right for you. And that's something, again, like trying to remind these kids, because I mean, we all know. I don't even need to say, the generation and or young, kids are growing up, and it's different compared to how it was back then. So that tough love, the family culture, the accountability that a program needed. Yeah, well, that's something that my staff and I truly believe that we've done a good job of instilling since I became a head coach in 21. So
That's very, very important. Establish that family, environment, community, especially in the team. I was always that guy in the middle, the huddle, hyping everybody up, the pregame speeches, and even now as a coach, because I coach basketball at the high school, and even at work amongst the squads, the different fire teams, I get everybody motivated. But it's when it comes to that one-on-one relationship, where it gets kind of awkward. Like, oh,
yeah,
you were actually listening to me, and because like you said, it's a different generation, and even though we had coaches growing up who could mentor us on the one-on-one level, it's a different feeling, being an adult and just not being responsible for your own family, but having somebody trusting in you and really following you and believing what you put out there. And man, that's one thing I have to work on, and that's great that you really pushing that for your guys, especially in that environment. No NIL, no luxury. It's just us. We got us, and I love that. But let's take it way, way back. How was Johnny as a football player when you guys would match up? How were those days?
Did he,
to be honest,
did he do better in football than he did at Nintendo 64?
Bro, I am the king at no, I actually sucked at video games. I was all right, all right. I was a lot older, so I think he was. I went and played football in Utah, and Kurt played football in Samoa. But I think by the time Kurt was,
Oh, I'm talking backyard. I know you guys different schools and all
no, so I was the bully, right? So the bigger, I was older, so I used to boss them all. Kurt would come around because him and my younger brothers were around the same age. So when they all come around, I had my oldest brother. He would always just sit around and be like, "Oh yeah, whatever we want." He was the guy that pointed us in the direction we had to go, and then I fancied myself the guy that made sure we got there. So I used to yell at all of them when they were younger. And then, by the time Kurt was in high school, I was already in the Marine Corps. I was gone, and I would get snippets.
So you saying Kurt scared you off?
Yeah, that's exactly what he's saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Because the next time I saw Kurt again, he was like as tall as me, and he was huge. I was like, "Oh, hey, cousin, hey, how is it? Bygones be bygones."
No,
Yeah.
I to be honest, I've never seen Johnny, play football, because again, he said that they moved to Utah. I think he played at Clearfield High School, but no, I've really never seen. Besides the times we go to the beach, and, just play around, tackle each other, at the Utule Beach, back then. But other than that, I've never seen Johnny played.
Sorry, man. You never will. Nah, my knees can't handle it now, dude. I'm just old age, But bring it back before we got sidetracked by Milford here. How hard was it? Now, I know you were interim head coach for a while before you were officially head coach, and that came on the heels of that glorious national championship that you guys won that year. When you first started coaching over at NMMI, how hard was it to get people to, believe in the Kool-Aid, to respect your decisions as a coach? I know there's a transition period where sometimes, new face, new energy that shows up. How hard was it to try to get people to believe, not just the players, but the coaching staff as a whole, and even the community that you represent? Was it difficult, or did you just fall right in? Everybody absolutely loved you.
Man, to be honest, my staff. I don't know if people heard of it, but we won a national championship with 5 coaches on the staff, 2 on the defense and 3 on offense, and that goes to show, man, really the level of teamwork that we've had from all of us that year. Because it was a sudden change. I'm gonna be honest. When our old head coach stepped down, it was June 8th. I still remember that day. I was in Utah. Like every summer, I come up there and attend the all poly camps and some of the football camps that happen there on the summer. It was June 8th. Got the call. Everything that our old head coach is stepping down, retiring from football, and I was actually pretty nervous because I didn't know what was next. Because usually when your boss steps down, you're looking to try to bring in a new head coach and usually when a new head coach comes in, he cleans house. So I'm just glad that I got the phone call asking if I wanted to be the interim, and took about 30 minutes to talk it over with the wife and called the AD back and told him yes, just because I thought of our players and our coaches then, and I wanted to to keep them together and not really break that up just because of a sudden change at the top. But my staff, man, Coach Kaiser, Coach Rodriguez, Coach Vasquez, Coach Dillard, they made it so easy that year, really, because we all came together, bought in, and I think that's what made the players believe too. Because then was COVID was fading away. We still had to follow COVID rules, and half of our team before the season started was in quarantine. So really, it was our staff that really came together and upheld the standard, relayed the message from myself to them to the kids, and kind of help us afloat throughout the season because it could have easily went south just because I was a first year head coach. I didn't even know how to be a head coach. I was just out there, just trying to lead by example and by my actions. But credit goes to my staff, my wife, our wives for sticking behind us, and also our administration for being behind us and helping us. Really, for me, made a easy transition into becoming a head coach because after our last game, we won. Our president, superintendent General Grizzle, broke the news in front of the team and got ice bath really from the cooler. And shoot, from there on, we took off. So I just think again, if you don't have a strong staff that can be your backbone when you don't know what to do, or when you can't lean on, like those guys, man, really helped me. And some of those coaches moved on and doing better things, and I still have 2 more coaches from that staff on staff with me, that's trying to instill that again into this new season that we're about to start. So
Has faith played a role in your development as a coach and father, husband? Just every part of your life as you've embarked on this journey so far.
oh yeah, I think faith was a huge part of what happened that year because that year, yeah, I got the interim tag and all that stuff, the national championship. But that year, I almost lost my wife. That year I almost lost my wife. Had to rely on family and faith a lot. Sorry.
No, you're
Almost
fine.
lost, almost
Yeah,
lost my
take your
wife
time.
to COVID. Um, just really, it really tested my faith that year. Because I could have easily hung it up, but just seeing my kids and relying on prayer, constant prayer from family, it really, it tested me as a man, my faith in God, and in my family. Because man, a lot of people stepped up. Man, got calls. My in-laws came here. My sister came here to help out. All while in the transition of being an interim head coach. And what makes it sweet was that winning the national championship at the end. So, but faith was a huge part because if I didn't believe in prayer and also the gospel, like I don't even know. Like, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here. You know, but yeah, man. Faith was a huge part, still a huge part of being a coach because every day before I go to sleep or go home, I always try to make sure, think back throughout the day and course of the week, think back to, the decisions I make, was it the best decision for the team? Because it wasn't for me. It ain't for me, when I make decisions, it's always based on if it's the best for the team and for the school and for the kids' best interest. That is, and having that conversation with the man above and giving all the faith and belief in him that everything will be the way it's supposed to be. I mean, yes, faith played a huge role, still is till now. Um, it's not going to go away. So, um, but yeah, sorry about it's just a touchy subject. Just because again, uh,
I get it. I get it. I love Shan too. I'm glad she pulled through. I know that's how we lost Bobby, and that hit us pretty hard.
no, it's just sad. Bobby, he was a close friend of mine too, coming out of high school and hearing all that. Man, it was just shocking because I know Bobby was a fit person, but
Yeah.
Super strong guy. But thanks for sharing that. And that's
no
real.
problem.
That's real. And I can tell that you've had a lot of amazing influences, throughout your life. At home, Johnny's father, uh, Johnny, for the bad influences and learning not what to do. No, but and even your coaches and just everyday life people you've known that have influenced you. So, coaches, we have a philosophy, right? So, what are some of your basic principles, or like uh, some of your top philosophies as a coach that have come from just all the influences in your life? Of course, the hard work and family, but uh, Are there any principles or philosophies that you make sure that you hammer home every day to your guys, not just your players, but your staff, everyone?
Probably the number one thing I always, look to is setting a good example. Um, not just for my staff, but for the players. I want my players to see that, I'm not just a coach. I'm a dad too. I'm a husband. I'm a father. When my kids come around, I want them to see that I'm a family guy. And so hopefully, when they see me treat my kids the way I treat them, and also, love my wife the way I love, them. I hope, that can inspire them to, when they become that, you know, get to that point in life, they can learn something from me or from our coaches. Another thing too is, I got this from Chris Peterson. He was the Boise State head coach, a very long time, and was a University of Washington head coach. Is he said something about the number one um, the number one job for a position coach is to build confidence in a student athlete, and that's what I lean back to sometimes is when I'm getting on the kid is when I'm getting on him, am I stopping him from achieving his the goals that he's set out to achieve, or am I holding him back by telling him, oh, he's doing doing this wrong, or instead of flipping it the other way and instilling confidence in him. Hey, man, it's okay. You mess up. Now fix it the next time. And that's something that I hope my coaches see that I'm doing. Yes, I'm going to yell at you and hold you accountable. But at the end of the day, when I'm done talking to you, we're leaving on a good note. And I want to build that confidence and that relationship, that knowing that that player trusts and believes in what I'm trying to instill in him, and building confidence in our student athletes is probably the biggest thing that as a coach, we want to do. Because man, we don't know what these kids come from, where they come from, the background they come from. Are they from a single family home or a two-parent home, or all that stuff? Or are they coming from money or no money? Like all that stuff goes into play of treating the student athlete the right way, and also teaching them values of you know why you got to do this right here before you go on into the real life, because in real life it might be a life or death situation. And not only just coaching ball, we're trying to coach these guys when they move on from here, because football ain't. It's, that's why they say the NFL is not for long. Football will end one day, and what are you going to fall back to? And you're going to fall back to the values and things that we taught you here, or are you just going to disregard all of that and go home and do the same thing you did before you got here? So again, like just going back to family and building confidence in our young student athletes is probably two of the biggest philosophies that I have. I include that in our staff packet, so that way when our staff look at it, it's all in bold, underlined letters. So
I wanted to ask you, like, kind of along those lines of, you're talking about instilling values in your players and whatnot. And would you say that because of the school that you coach at being a military school, that you maybe attract for lack of a better term, like a higher caliber of character among your students, because they know that they're not just coming in to come in and get their degree. They're in all likelihood preparing for entering into military service, being leaders there, and that asks sometimes a higher standard of character from people. Do you say that you encounter? I know, like, we established sometimes you do have to check a dude coming in, because we get just like the military abroad, you get all sorts of people from all sorts of backgrounds. but would you say that you being a military school probably attracts a higher caliber of player? Would you say as far as the character department, or is that
I
something
want
that you have to learn through you?
I want to say both, but leaning more towards attracting good character kids, really. And that's the reason why we go out and recruit as a coaching staff. We do our due diligence of asking the coach, how's this kid in the weight room? How's his work ethic? Is he a yes sir, no sir type of guy? Does he come late? All that stuff plays into us, our staff recruiting. And obviously, sometimes you'll probably miss on some of those. And kids nowadays they know how to act. They act pretty good in front of us, and sometimes when we're not here, they kind of get crazy. But then yes, that check your ego at the door type deal where we have to step in and be like, hey man, that's not going to fly here. Um, there's cadre members that's gonna that's gonna address you, and it's a yes sir or no sir type deal here, and it kind of builds character too as well to those with those guys that are always trying to fight the system and try to be the one that stands out. But yes, this school attracts that and more. Um, but I want to say every year it doesn't come every year, but it kind of comes every other year. It falls back to us coaches recruiting the right kids that fit the values and the characteristics and the background of our program.
I want to touch a little about your NFL career because I have been following you, as a classmate and friend until the point you got drafted. Then I heard nothing about Kurt. The only thing I heard about you were through the news that I had to Google where you were at. Uh, but I want to mainly speak on your mindset. I know it must have been difficult being cut and moving from team to team, especially being on a practice squad. And I know that you were injured a lot, right? So could you speak on what were your thoughts during that period in your NFL career before you became coach?
Coming out of high school, I had a couple injuries. I had a broken or a fractured wrist. This was my senior year in college, and then I had a torn PCL. So, um, that it's not a good way to try to start an NFL career. But still, I had the opportunity to take advantage of it. And man, when I was in the league for a little bit, it was fun. I was young. I was like, oh, I'm with the Raiders, and you find out really quick, that at that level is all business. It's a cutthroat deal, like, and that's something that I felt like I regretted not doing when I was in was building relationships with other people, not just your position coach at the time or your teammates. It's the people in the front office and people that are behind the scenes doing the strength coach. Because those guys, man, like you never know. Like, in this coaching world, coach get fired and get hired. Then the next week at a different place, and nowadays it's who and the network. You have if I know Bill Belichick, maybe if I hit him up, yeah, hey, I just want to volunteer. Maybe he'll give me a spot. But I didn't do that at the time because I was so focused on trying to be the best player I can and trying to make the 53-man roster. But I got cut 3 times, which man, the first one was it hurt just because I felt like my NFL dreams were done. But with the help of my agent, she advised me to come back to Utah, where I trained with Stroshine Performance down in Orem. She told me, "Hey, come come back here and we'll put the work in. We'll wait for another call and see if somebody wants you, and I did that, and again, like, got another call with the Titans. I was with them, and again, same deal. I was just there, just on the practice squad, which again I learned a lot, met a lot of people too, but still, I don't think it was enough to build that relationship with the people that I felt like that I needed to go meet and introduce myself to, and but all in all, the NFL was a nice little experience. But like I said, I found out really quick that it was all business, cutthroat deal up there. They can always, if you don't get the job done, they'll always go find someone else to get it done for them. And they got a lot of money to play around with, and do all that stuff at that level. And seeing some recent success with some Polynesian athletes, man, and more props to those guys. Frankie Luvu from back home. I'm just happy. And another one is Equale, at that level too. So good luck to them this year again. Hope they kill it and stay healthy. So
Just a couple more things. Now, I know as a father, do you sometimes view your players as your children, and as you're watching them, like,
I'm sure
refine their game?
maybe if I'm 50 or 60, then probably, yeah. But I view them as my little brothers. 32 years old, and these kids are either range from 17 to 22 years old. I kind of view them as my little brothers. Maybe just because of not so far off in age, from them. Maybe if I'm 40 or 50, then I'll probably be look just like King, running around here try to, so. But yeah, I view him as my little brothers. Just trying to help them and be successful here at our place.
Have you had any instances where your little brothers came back and you watched them grow up, and then they came back after the fact, after either succeeding or in their own way of how they view themselves being successful? Have they ever contacted you again, like for an
Man,
update or?
I just got a message right before I had practice from one of my guys. Is just graduated from here in May. He's in San Jose State. I just had two D linemen, one kid from American Samoa, from Famaito High School. He's with San Jose State. He was only a freshman here, played here last year, moved on to San Jose State. And a kid from New Zealand, he's a little older. He's been with me for about 2 years now. He's from New Zealand. He's at San Jose State too. So, those guys messaged me today and say, "We miss you, coach. Good luck with fall camp." I said the same thing back because, right now is where I spend a lot of time with them. But just seeing them, I saw a couple of videos of them on their social media practicing. But seeing them doing their thing at that level, man, it just makes me want to do it again.
I was just say, did you have any players that, for the wrong reasons, that stuck out to you? Those
Yeah.
kids that just couldn't get it right or something like that.
I've had a lot of those. Try to give them chances, and when we get messages, not just me but my staff, we get messages saying, "Hey, coach, man, miss you guys, man. Man, you were right. You guys were right. I should have done this, but man, because I miss Nimi. Never, never ever. I would ever, thought would hear, kids say they miss the military school. But it's just the relationship and the bonds that they built here with each other that makes them value this place, more.
We learned a little bit about you. Well, you got some of these foundations that these Hall of Famers talk about in their speeches. It's faith, family, football, And then you spoke on accountability and instilling confidence in your players, which it's always important, but I feel like that's a key thing to focus on, especially nowadays with technology and you know how algorithms work when our young folks are on their phones and whatnot. They see things and they think it's instantaneous. You know, they're expecting these results overnight, and when they don't get it, you know, it's easy to lose confidence. And because the way algorithms work, of course, you know, their phones and their apps are going to show them the same things over, and not, you know, the things that you talk about, the nitty gritty, the grind that people don't see, the process that you have to fall in love with. But I just want to say it's a big honor to have you on. I seen the piece on social media about you taking over a while ago, and I thought, man, that is amazing. I love this. And then when I found out that these two knuckleheads, Johnny and Michael, knew you, I was like, really? You know, we're gonna wait this long? I'm always talking about being a coach. You guys know a big time coach, and we ain't bringing them on. But thank you. I know, especially beginning the season, especially at your level, you're super busy. But I also want the people out there to know how big this is, to have a Polynesian head coach in football. You know, a sport where 60 Minutes did a piece on, you know, our people being from Football Island, but to have, you know, Kalani, Satake, and you as head coaches, you know, it's only the beginning, and it's a big.
Don't forget that head coach from what was it, Army?
Oh, Ken Niumatalolo. Yeah,
For the Navy.
Navy.
Yeah, but we won't speak on that, but we love Coach. We love him too. And he, just like Coach Kurt over here, he stuck to his principles. He never budged, you know, when it came to his religion and mixing football. And I just wanted to say, you know, thank you right now. I didn't want to interrupt too much other, but thank you for coming on.
Hey, on my defense, I contacted Kurt long time ago when we first started. He was just too busy. And then Johnny brought him up again, and I'm glad that he.
In my defense, from Michael Tan's defense, I suck at these things. You know, I need an assistant because my actual assistant.
I remember Michael reaching out. Yeah, it was a while back, but no, it was good to, like, every summer. You know, I come up to Utah and try to recruit during the summer and attend football camps and see family. You know, and this was, I came up to spend some time with Johnny and, his brothers, because I always do that because, they mean, a lot to me because of the impact they had on my life, especially, his dad, and I'm just glad he reached out again about 3 weeks ago. He mentioned something at the barbecue, July 4th barbecue deal. I was like, yeah, just let me know. And then, yeah, 2 3 weeks ago, and he texted me, he said, hey, or he called me, yeah, hey, do you want to get on a podcast? I was like, yeah, I'm fine. I told him Sunday night's fine with me. And, I'm, like I said, I'm honored to be on there, and just, grateful for the opportunity to share my story, and hopefully it'll, impact someone that's out there, that'll be watching, the podcast. So, and just to let everybody know, like, if you guys need help with anything as far as like kids recruiting or connection to any schools, feel free to reach out to me, because I might not be able to help you direct, but I might know some people or have some connections that can I can direct you to assist you with anything. But I'm excited for the season ahead for us, and excited for these kids from back home, and the Pacific that is going to come and help us, because winning one national championship, it felt good. I want another one. So, and trying to get bring the right guys in the building so we can put good stuff out there on film. And we're coming up to play Snow College on September 2nd, and it'll be a good game. Can't wait. So.
And how can people reach out to you? Do they reach out to you in social media or email, or and what
Uh,
are you looking for in these kids?
Man, I'm looking for a kid. So, oh, sorry, going back. You can reach out to me on the on our NMMI school website, nmmi.edu. You can Google it or type it in the search bar. Go to athletics. Go to Bronco football, and you'll find my contact information on there. You'll have my office phone and my email address. My email address is taufaasau at nmmi.edu. I try my best. I get a lot of emails each day, but at night I try to try my best to get back to all those emails. My office phone, you can leave it. If you call me, I always pick up. If I'm around the desk, if I'm away from the desk, you can leave a message, and I usually return the call later on in the day. But those are probably the two main things. And also, you could, for me, I have a Facebook, so I can connect with kids from back home because it's free. The messenger and all that stuff, and also I can stay in touch with family. You can reach out to me on there too. It'll be Kurt Taufaasau. But what we're looking for from a kid is obviously high academics, um, kid with great character, a great attitude, don't mind hard work, don't mind earning things the hard way. Kids that don't mind leaving home, and kids that that are pretty good at football. And I'll recruit kids that have potential. It's probably not developed yet, but we all definitely take a look at those kids that that can come in and be a project. We can develop on later on in the year, take a redshirt year to to get big, get strong, and fast. So, well, yeah, we're pretty much looking for those are probably the main things. But we look at every kid because we offer 85 scholarships for football, and it's you don't hear that from any other junior college. And one thing I want to let everybody know, whoever's watching, is don't get intimidated by the word military, man. The military part, man, it's gonna build you up. It's gonna make you realize that waking up, getting your room squared away is probably the best thing to do because you would want that in your kid too if you have a family. And we teach that here. We teach a lot of self discipline, time management stuff. We have the resources. Just opened our $17 million athletic facility last July for a junior college. It's pretty sick. It's probably the best in the country. And there's a bunch of if you're not on a scholarship, there's an academic scholarship through the school and also through admissions where you can qualify for. For example, like if you're from Hawaii, you can qualify for the Waterhouse Scholarship, which is 3 grand or 4 grand a semester that can help pay for your school on top of the financial aid you get. So you're pretty much closer to getting, paying nothing to go to school, really. And there's a lot of benefits here at this school as far as like having a great education because we're top two in the country as far as academics and community colleges. We have an ROTC commissioning program where if you go to basic, you want to go to school and become a commissioned officer in the military. We got that here, and you could be a lieutenant, an officer in 2 years. I mean, we probably commission about 30 to 40, ROTC guys each semester from here, and we're one of the few 2 year schools that's doing that around the country. There's that avenue if football don't work out for you. And also there's a bunch of other, opportunities to, get your degree in engineering, kinesiology, becoming a physical therapy, liberal arts degree. So, and people will be surprised on, the alumni that came through here. There's some big time names. I mean, the most famous one is Roger Staubach If you're a Cowboy fan, you know who he is. He won the Heisman at the Naval Academy and went to the Vietnam War, came back and won 2 or 3 Super Bowls with the Cowboys. We have the Hiltons, the guys that started Hilton way back then, the Hilton Hotel, Hampton Hotel, they went to school here. Owen Wilson, the actor, and we got some history, a lot of history here on campus that people will be surprised, And just because there's a military attached to our name, don't let that intimidate you, man. It's probably the best opportunity that's out there for you, and I'm talking to parents and student athletes that are, coming out of high school and looking for a place to go.
Well, there you have it. Gonna give a hookup to our friend Dosolelo Ati Mingifkwala. I got a question from Ati. He couldn't make it tonight, but he asked, and it's a good ending question. If you had to do it all over again, would you? From the beginning all the way to now, would you?
Yes.
And would you change anything?
Probably, except the fact that, I got to change early than later. Because, it took some time for me to, adapt, to catch on to, what's going on here and in life. But that's just about it. I would go back if I graduated high school and New Mexico military offered me a scholarship. Yeah, I'd come back here and do it all over again.
Heck yeah. Well, thank you, Kurt. I appreciate you for coming out and joining us here at Behind the Lava Lava. I hope you guys have a successful training camp and upcoming season. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. And, for any of you that's out there that's, on the fence about what you want to do after high school, give NMMI a try. Good luck to the NMMI Broncos on your upcoming season and all your future endeavors. And I know you'll kill it out there. If I know you'll kill it out there. This episode is brought to you by Matai Watches. Get yourself a little bit of history. I know we have a lot of upcoming events with Matai Watches. We have the Black Series out. We have the Ladies Mania collection in multiple colors. We also have the Manusa Amo brand as well. And there's also we got more in store. And for more details, find us at behindthelavamerch.com. And my name is Johnny. This is Michael Tan, Spence, and Milford signing off.